But this is truly an historic first. A sitting United States president pacing the field for the great American race. He said he wanted to do a lap. He's going to do it.
Well, he is the president. He has that right. And I just can't imagine, as a driver, as a competitor, the magnitude of this. This only builds up what is the great American race and one of the biggest races in the world to put that much pressure on you to win this race today.
I'm not sure how this idea came about, but I have an inkling. A phone call was received the other day in Franklin, Tennessee, at the home of our former colleague, Darrell Waltrip, who retired from broadcasting at the end of the 2019 season, asking him to fly to Palm Beach this morning and join President Trump on Air Force One on the ride up here to Daytona. So I would not be surprised if Darrell had a little hand in what we're about to see.
Maybe he's giving him some tips down there about those high banks here in Daytona.
And are the drivers excited about this? Well, here's Clint Boyer's radio.
He's going to pace the field? Yep. Love it. Gosh, it's awesome.
You know, Mike, people ask me, do you miss it? You know, are you jealous of those competitors out there? Today, right now, I am. I would love to be in this Daytona 500 field out there competing today. This is just so special.
Now, we know that at least 70 miles an hour is required to keep those cars up on the banking. Those presidential limousines, which are built on truck chassis, weigh about 22,000 pounds, will probably not be doing 70 through the 31-degree banking of turns 1 and 2. But we'll stay down on the apron.
Now, you think when he finishes this lap, is he going to do a burnout? What kind of horsepower is underneath the hood of that car?
Well, Jeff, our Fox graphic department came up with a comparison between the NASCAR Cup cars and what Secret Service calls the Beast, the presidential limousine, built by Cadillac on a truck chassis. With Cadillac sheet metal, it's 2 feet longer than the Cup car, and it's a little heavier at 22,000 pounds. Horsepower and top speed is sufficient, but unknown. It's been estimated that those side windows are 5 inches thick of bulletproof glass and that the sheet metal is some 8 inches thick as it's fully armored. And, of course, seating capacity 7 for the limo and 1 for our Cup cars.
Only thing I wish they'd have modified on that limo is put a spoiler on that rear deck lid.
Okay, it seems like President Donald Trump is busy going to meet with the Mr. President Vladimir Putin tomorrow, but also we saw that he was around the track to which, the NASCAR track to which he calls it the biggest race. I don't know what biggest race is that, but hey, we might not know. What up, everybody? My name is Happiness. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Political Bro. So in terms of today, there is a meeting that's gonna go ahead, which is part of the emergency summit to save Ukraine from future attacks from Russia. So let's take a look at some of these videos to try and figure out why is the outcome for them wanting to send troops to Ukraine due to tomorrow being that they will be meeting with Mr. Trump and Putin in terms of a ceasefire.
Good evening. I want to thank President Macron for convening us this evening. At stake is not just the future of Ukraine, it is an existential question for Europe as a whole, and therefore vital for Britain's national interest. This is a once-in-a-generation moment for the collective security of our continent. Only a lasting peace in Ukraine that safeguards its sovereignty will deter Putin from further aggression in the future. Now, recent statements by the US administration should not come as a surprise. President Trump has long expressed the wish for Europe to step up and meet the demands of its own security, that he wants to get a lasting peace agreement to end the war in Ukraine. So today's informal meeting of European leaders was a vital first step in responding to that challenge. On defence, it's clear the US is not going to leave NATO. But we Europeans will have to do more. The issue of burden sharing is not new, but it is now pressing. And Europeans will have to step up, both in terms of spending and the capabilities that we provide. On Ukraine, we're at the very early stage of the process. Europe must play its role. And I'm prepared to consider committing British forces on the ground alongside others if there is a lasting peace agreement. But there must be a US backstop, because a US security guarantee is the only way to effectively deter Russia from attacking Ukraine again. So I will go to Washington next week to meet President Trump and to discuss what we see as the key elements of a lasting peace. I spoke to President Zelensky on Friday, and will do so again in coming days. And we envisage a further meeting with European colleagues when I return from the US. In this moment, we have to recognise the new era that we are in, not cling hopelessly to the comforts of the past. It's time for us to take responsibility for our security, for our continent. And I've been clear today, Britain will take a leading responsibility, as we always have, because Ukraine must have a secure future, Europe must have a secure future, Britain must have a secure future, and democratic values must prevail. Thank you.
It's right, a number of things all at once, but I think first and foremost, it's clarity. They want clarity about what is going on at the moment, in particular inside the Trump administration. They want a rational assessment of the statements that are being made. Because if you look at the statements that are being made by Donald Trump, by J.D. Vance, by Marco Rubio, et cetera, Hegseth, there are differences between all the statements. So trying to make rhyme and reason of this, I think, is the first most important thing they can do at the moment. Because what seems to be happening is that the European leaders, the European media, is getting into a sort of spin, almost a panic, about what are the messages coming from the United States, because the messages themselves seem to be contradictory. And they'll be wanting to look at what's going to be happening this week in Saudi Arabia. What is this meeting that's taking place between the Americans? Marco Rubio is going to be there. Michael Valls, the national security advisor, is going to be there. From the Russian side, leading representatives, including Lavrov, the foreign minister. Is it a tragedy that Europe is not going to be at this meeting? Is it really a negotiation that's taking place this week in Saudi Arabia? Or is it simply an attempt to get together with the Russians to get a sense of whether or not they're prepared to give it anything? In which case, is there a need for everybody to be there at that particular meeting? So a number of things, as I said, I think that they're trying to assess, trying to prevent panic. At the moment, it's...
Okay, guys, it seems like UK is currently in a meeting with the other leaders from Russia. So they are currently in Paris to discuss the ceasefire, for which should be happening, because at the moment it seems like President Trump and President Vladimir Putin have to go and meet in Saudi Arabia to talk peace agreement in terms of the future of Ukraine, but whereby Ukraine was not invited. So in order for them to secure a ceasefire, they're gonna have to send in some troops, so that they should make sure that Russia does not jeopardize the future of this peace agreement in terms of Ukraine. But one thing that I don't understand is that how can you go into a meeting without and talk about another country's peace, whilst the country was not involved in that peace agreement, because it looks like it would be a little bit shady, because you include two parties, to which I would include as one party would be a third party, but not including Ukraine, which is one of the parties, but include America in terms of the peace agreement, which from my point of view that I will include as a third party. So it being that Russia and America would end up talking together in terms of this, not including, sounds like it would make things to seem a bit off. So, but in terms of that, I came across also, because at the moment there is currently a peace talk in Paris, because leading up to the meeting between Trump and Vladimir Putin. So today on Monday, there's currently talks between the leaders, and as I'm checking the on this website, so it says that the Prime Minister questioned about the willingness of putting Britain troops in Ukraine, because as we heard that they will be sending some British troops in Ukraine. It says that it also asked about the remarks about he would be willing to send UK peace troops, peacekeeping troops in Ukraine, including if there had been any planning on how many troops would be needed and what their roles would be. I think we are getting ahead of ourselves here. Stammers saying discussions ahead haven't even started yet, and goes on to speak about the needs for the lasting peace. Okay, so it seems like they are in disagreement between if they should be starting to talk about the future of what's going to happen in terms of tomorrow if they have not had the outcome of the meeting. So in terms of it says also security guarantee must have US backing, Starmer. So following his statement, Starmer is taking questions from the media. The Prime Minister is asked if the US has undermined the UK, Europe and Ukraine by not including them, but having talks with only Russia. Starmer says that the US lasting peace, which is what the UK, Europe, allies and Ukraine want. He adds, it is important that Ukraine is in the strongest possible position in talks begin and if fighting continues. He also reiterated the need for the US backstop. Starmer says that the security guarantee must be part of a package with US backing, because otherwise I don't think they will operate effective as guarantee, because they won't be an effective deterrent. Ask what the US backstop means. Starmer says the discussions are in the very early stages and goes on to speak about the principle of peace through the strength. Okay, so in terms of this, I would also agree, because I mean, like, tomorrow they will be having a discussion about another country without including that country. So they might not know what the outcome would be, because we might not know if Trump and maybe if Putin might want to continue with the war. You might not know if he wants to continue with the war. So it would be best if they would have included Ukraine also, and also their allies also, as part of the European Union, to try to be part of this meeting, so that they can all be in agreement, because it's not only that would be Ukraine that will be affected by this, but also it would be also Europe. Thank you guys for watching my YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe, and so that we can hit more subscribers and views. So, but yeah, thank you for watching my channel, and let's continue to be informed about the current affairs that are happening in the world, and peace out.